jump right into the series. We begin on Wednesday night
with the New York Islanders at Washington Capitals. What do you think, Brett?
So this series is going to basically come down to goaltending. Both teams have very powerful offenses. One led by goal scorer John Tavares, who just got outwitted on the last night of the season for the Art Ross Trophy, which awards the most points in the league. And the other side is Alex Ovechkin, who's one of the most dominant players in hockey, having the most goals. And so this is going to end up coming down to goaltending. Who has the stronger defense? Who has the stronger goalie? Braden Holtby for the Capitals, Yaroslav Pulock for the Islanders. Right now I see the Islanders winning in 6 games. Could take the 7th game for them to win, but the Capitals are right now the favorite team. I'm going to go with the underdog, the Islanders.
Okay, well, I see the Capitals taking this one in 5 over the Islanders. You're right, it will probably come down to goaltending, but I think the Capitals are the more experienced team in the playoffs here, and I think that's going to be a big factor. Alex Ovechkin is experienced, but even though he has 450 goals, he has the second fewest games out of anyone with that number. So he doesn't get very far in the playoffs when he makes it in his 9-year career. But I think he's going to win the first round, and the Capitals are going to take over the Islanders.
Yeah, I could see the Caps taking this series in 6. Yeah, the Islanders, they've been playing well all year, but towards the end of the season, it looked like they got a little rundown, and they didn't exactly limp it to the playoffs. But I'm not exactly pleased with how they played down the stretch. So I think the Capitals will take this one.
Yeah, of course. And you take a look at their size. The Islanders are a much smaller team than the Capitals, which is definitely going to hurt them. They also only have 1 year out of the last 8 seasons that they've made the playoffs. So these young guys who weren't on the team 8 years ago, they've had no playoff experience. They had that great 6-game series with the Penguins a couple of years ago, but really they're young kids. They don't have the experience. Travis Hamonic recently came out with injury after getting hit the other night in Pittsburgh, and so they're going to replace him with the young kid Griffin Reinhart, who just came up to the NHL for a couple of games, and so we'll see if the kid gets the play. Another name to look out for is Ryan Pulock. He's also been tearing it up in Bridgeport, and so he's a big defender. If he comes up, he could make some noise.
What do you think about the other series in the East, Ottawa versus Montreal?
Well, Ottawa is definitely the hot team coming in. They've won their last 3 games, but really you look at the goaltending, Andrew Hammond has been amazing. And then you have Mark Stone, who's an MVP candidate, or definitely at least Rookie of the Year candidate. And so they're right now the hot team. However, I do see them running into trouble in Montreal. It's definitely going to be one for Canada, remember. But I have Montreal in 5.
Okay. Yeah, Canada versus Canada here. I'm going to go with the Canadians, though. I'm going to say that it's going to be a 7-game series. It's going to be hard fought, kind of like you might see Yankees-Red Sox type thing going on.
Yeah, and I think Ottawa, when they have Andrew Hammond, like you mentioned, in net, they're almost unbeatable. So I think they could win this series in 6. The defense that they play is very impressive. And they kind of remind me of a team like the Kings from a few years ago that is getting hot at the right time. And if they can keep up that goaltending, of course, Andrew Hammond is not Jonathan Quick, but I think they could still win a series at least.
Right, and moving over into the West, we have the Blackhawks at Nashville. And what do you guys see going on there?
This is going to be one of the more interesting series that we see because you have a team like Chicago who has had playoff experience, Stanley Cup Finals experience within recent years. Patrick Kane right now is hurt, and so we're not sure how long he's going to be in the series, and if he plays in the series, for how long he's going to be in it. So we're really not sure of that. That's a big question mark for them. But they are playing very good hockey. But of course, you take a look on the other side of the spectrum, and Nashville's playing much better hockey. They're right now the top team in their division. They're poised for victory. I have them winning in 5.
All right, and I have the Blackhawks winning in 5 over Nashville, just based on experience.
Yeah, I agree with that. Blackhawks, it's tough to pick against them in the playoffs because, like you said, they've played well in the past few years. So I'm going with them in 6, but I think it'll also be a very well played series.
Now the other game from the West is Calgary versus Vancouver, with Vancouver being the home team in the first game.
Now Calgary kind of snuck in on the last day. They knocked out the Kings, or actually it was the second to last day, but they knocked out the Kings, which was a huge surprise to see a team who won the Stanley Cup last year get out immediately, not even have a chance to defend their title. So Calgary right now is a force to be reckoned with. I don't see them having any trouble, and I have them winning in 6.
I agree. Calgary will win. I think it's also going to be in 6, so I'm going to side with Brett on this one.
Yeah, I'm going with the Canucks in 6. I think Calgary's going to flame out. Like you said, they had to get on the last game of this season. Yeah, they could be playing for, with a little momentum, but I think Vancouver has it.
And moving on to Thursday night, the first game of that night is Pittsburgh at the New York Rangers, the most winningest team in hockey this year. They won the President's Trophy. How do you guys see that going down?
Well, this series also is going to be an interesting series. You had Boston and Pittsburgh fighting for that final spot. The winner was going to play the Rangers. So Pittsburgh, of course, comes in not playing good hockey. They've been struggling their last couple games. They took a loss to the Islanders the other night, and then they got an easy way in with Buffalo. Of course you're going to beat Buffalo, who's right now the last place team. So, of course, I do think that they're going to step up. I do have the Rangers winning in 5, though, which could set up a potential Islanders-Rangers second-round matchup, which could be interesting.
Yeah, that could be interesting, Brett. I have the Rangers winning in 4. Clean sweep. Like you said, Pittsburgh just not playing well, and the Rangers playing great all year, and even seeming to get hotter towards the end of the season. So I think they have this one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a sweep as well. Rangers finishing up 7-3 in their last 10. Even last year, they had when they played Pittsburgh in the playoffs, it was a tough series, but the Rangers got hot at the right time, and I think they're hot going into this. So I see it as a 4-game sweep over the Penguins.
And definitely don't doubt the hot goalie, because you have Henrik Lundqvist and Cam Talbot, the two-headed monster over there, which really is what works in the playoffs. You saw it a couple of years ago with Jonathan Quick. I'm sure you'll see it in that Montreal series with Carey Price. He's right now pretty hot. But definitely look for that two-headed monster in net, because if one of them goes down, there's always another backup. There's that insurance policy for the Rangers.
So the other game that night out of the East is the Detroit Red Wings versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. And what do you think on that?
Well, the Lightning, of course, are playing good hockey. The Red Wings went on a tear on their last 2 weeks of the season. I think they're an older team right now. I really see the youth in Tampa Bay's team with Jonathan Drouin along with Steven Stamkos. I see them winning. I have them winning in 6.
Yeah, I'm going with the Red Wings in this one. You mentioned their age, but with age comes experience. So I think the Red Wings can win this one in 6, but this should be another interesting series.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Lightning are going to win this. I think they're just going to be a little bit quicker on the ice, and I think that's going to help propel them into the next round. I have the Lightning in 7.
And a quick note on that, they named Peter Mrazek the starting goalie over all-star goalie Jimmy Howard for the Red Wings. So we should see, that's another two-headed monster to look out for them.
Very good point. Now moving over to the West, the Minnesota Wild versus the St. Louis Blues. How do we see that going down, guys?
Well, this is going to be a battle between Vladimir Tarasenko and the youth over of Zach Parise and Nino Niederreiter, and Thomas Vanek, of course, bringing in veteran leadership. So I do see this coming down to a 7-game series. I'm going to take the Blues in this one because I think that they're poised to get to at least the Western Conference Finals. I do see them winning in 7.
I think the Blues are the team to look out for in the West. I think they can get all the way to the Stanley Cup this year. I see them winning in 6. They started out this season really hot. They were probably the best team for the first half of the season, and I think that they're going to get back to their playoff form this season.
Yeah, the Blues aren't going to be so blue after this round. I think I'm going to say it's going to be a 5-game series against Minnesota with the Blues coming out on top. They finished tied for first in their conference, so I just see them rolling right on. And the other game is the Winnipeg Jets versus the Anaheim Ducks. How do you feel about this one?
Well, Anaheim right now is the best team in the Western Conference, and so you're really playing the worst team against the best team. That's kind of how I paired them up. Winnipeg has not really gotten to the playoffs since 1996, if you want to go back, not including any of their years in Atlanta. So it should be fun for the fans, but I do see Anaheim winning in 5.
Yeah, I'll go with a clean sweep. I just think Winnipeg, they just don't have the talent to keep up with them.
You know, I'm gonna try and go against the odds here. I'm gonna pick Winnipeg in 7. I think it's gonna. I think no matter who wins this, it's gonna be a 7-game series. I just see the Winnipeg Jets fighting hard to not be out so quick.
And of course, you take a look at most of the media that doubt a team like Winnipeg, and you saw it a couple years ago with the Islanders. For the New Yorkers that are watching right now, the Islanders were totally doubted by this red-hot Pittsburgh Penguins team with Marc-Andre Fleury, and they ended up making the 6-game series. So Winnipeg could make it a series. I have them losing in 5, but they could make some noise.